Tonight, we are not going to tell ghost stories. We are not here to chase shadows or to prove the unprovable. Instead, we are here to wonder. We are here to drift into the quiet, gentle science of the unseen world. A world that exists just at the very edge of our senses. We have all felt it, at one time or another. That strange, sudden chill in a perfectly still room. The fleeting, dark shape that vanishes from the corner of your eye. Or that deep, unexplainable feeling that you are not alone, even when you are. These moments are profoundly human. They are the source of folklore, of mystery, and of the stories we tell in the dark. But what if these feelings are not supernatural? What if they are simply natural? What if these hauntings are the result of invisible forces, forces that our senses were not built to understand, but that our brains, in their incredible sensitivity, still manage to detect? Tonight, we journey into the subtle physics and psychology of perception. We are going to explore the real, measurable forces of infrasound, magnetic fields, and micro vibrations. We will learn how these quiet forces can gently trick our minds, blurring the line between what is real and what we can only feel. There is no need to be afraid. This is a journey of understanding. The science of these places is, in its own way, just as wondrous as any story. So, find a comfortable position. Let your shoulders soften. Let your eyes grow heavy. And let the unknown cradle your thoughts. Let's begin. First, let us consider the very air around us. The air is alive with sound, but the spectrum of sound is vast, far wider than the narrow band our ears are tuned to hear. We live in an ocean of vibrations, and we only perceive the ripples that splash against our shore. Below the lowest note on a grand piano, below the rumble of distant thunder, lies a realm of sound so deep it is no longer heard, it is felt. This is the world of infrasound. Sounds below 20 hertz, 20 cycles per second, are inaudible to the human ear, but they are not without power. They carry an immense, slow energy. This is the sound of the planet itself breathing. Infrasound is generated by the grand, slow movements of our world. The crash of massive ocean waves on a shore hundreds of miles away. The passage of strong wind over mountains. The deep, tectonic groan of the earth before a tremor. It is also created by our own world. The huge spinning turbines of a power plant, the ventilation fans in a large old building, the hum of massive engines. This sound, this deep vibration, travels for miles, passing through walls and windows as if they were not there. And while our ears cannot hear it, our bodies can. Infrasound resonates with us in a primal way. The long, slow waves can create a faint, subtle pressure in the chest, a vibration in the bones, or a feeling of dizziness in the inner ear. Imagine standing in an empty room. You hear nothing. You see nothing. But your chest feels heavy. Your stomach feels uneasy. Your brain is a magnificent pattern-matching machine.
It receives this signal of physical unease, but its senses provide no source. There is no visible threat. There is no audible warning. And so the brain does the only thing it can. It searches its most ancient library, the library of survival. The signal, pressure, unease, no obvious source, matches one of our oldest instincts. A predator is nearby. A presence is felt. This feeling of dread, of anxiety, of being watched by something unseen, is the brain's logical interpretation of an invisible physical signal. It is a biological echo, a false alarm, triggered by a sound we cannot hear. But the mystery of infrasound deepens. It doesn't just create a feeling. It can also create shadows. This discovery was made, as many are, by accident. A British engineer named Vic Tandy was working late in his laboratory, a lab known by his colleagues to be haunted. People often felt sad, anxious, and reported seeing fleeting gray shapes in their peripheral vision. One night, Tandy was working on a fencing foil, a long, thin blade. He had placed it in a vise, and to his surprise, it began to vibrate. It vibrated wildly, as if an unseen hand were plucking it. There was no earthquake. No one was moving. Being a scientist, he sought a reason. He fetched his sound-measuring equipment. He discovered a powerful, silent, standing wave of infrasound in the room. It was peaking at a very specific frequency, 18.9 hertz. When he traced the source, it was not a spirit. It was a new, silent ventilation fan that had just been installed in the corridor. But this discovery led to a profound question. Why 18.9 hertz, and why did it create ghosts? The answer, it seems, is in our eyes. The human eyeball has a resonant frequency, a frequency at which it too will begin to vibrate. That frequency is approximately 18.9 hertz. The infrasound from the fan was vibrating the very jelly of the engineer's eyeballs. This vibration is tiny, imperceptible, but it is just enough to distort the light entering the eye. It gently smears the information coming from the edges of our vision. A speck of dust, a mote of light, a simple shadow is no longer a stable point. It is smeared into a vague, gray, fleeting shape, a shape that seems to move, a shape that vanishes the moment you try to look at it directly because the center of your vision is more stable. The ghosts in the lab were, in truth, an optical illusion, an illusion created by the eye itself, dancing to a sound that no one could hear. When Vic Tandy turned off the fan, the vibrations stopped. The presence vanished, and the ghosts were gone. Think of those old houses, those castles, those basements, places long thought haunted. They are often drafty, old structures. They are perfect resonant chambers for the low, thrumming sound of wind passing over a chimney or water rushing through old pipes. The very architecture of the haunted house is often a perfect instrument for playing the music of fear.
Now, let us drift deeper, beyond the realm of sound, into a force that is even more fundamental, a force that guides the birds in the sky and the needle of a compass. Let us explore the gentle, invisible hand of magnetism. We live our lives cradled in the Earth's magnetic field. It is a vast, protective bubble that shields us from cosmic radiation. We cannot see it, we cannot feel it, or so we think. Like the air, this field is not static. It is a living, breathing thing. It fluctuates with storms on the sun. It can be bent or concentrated by the very ground beneath our feet. Large deposits of iron ore, or quartz, or certain geological fault lines can create local anomalies, places where the magnetic field is unusually strong or unusually chaotic. For centuries, these places have been known as haunted or sacred, places where people report strange experiences, visions, or profound spiritual encounters. The question science asks is, why? The answer may lie deep within our brains. Tucked behind our temples are the temporal lobes. These regions are the grand central station of our consciousness. They integrate what we see and hear. They process our deepest emotions, and they hold our sense of self in space. And it appears they are remarkably sensitive to magnetism. In the 1980s, a neuroscientist named Michael Persinger began a series of fascinating experiments. He wanted to know if he could synthetically create the sensed presence that so many people report. He built a helmet, a simple helmet that was modified to generate very weak but very complex magnetic fields. Not a strong, simple magnet, but a fluctuating, patterned field designed to mimic the chaos of natural magnetic anomalies. He placed this helmet on volunteers. They sat in a quiet, dark room. They did not know the purpose of the experiment. The results were astonishing. A significant majority of participants reported something. They reported the distinct, undeniable feeling that there was someone else in the room with them. Some described it as a shadow, a figure standing just behind them. Some described it as a benevolent presence, a guardian angel or a departed relative. Others felt a profound sense of unity with the universe, a feeling of awe or of touching the divine. All of this from a simple, patterned magnetic field applied to their temporal lobes. Persinger's God helmet suggested that the presence we feel, the one we attribute to a ghost, an angel, or a god, might be an artifact of our own neuroactivity. When the temporal lobes are gently stimulated by these chaotic fields, the brain's map of the self begins to falter. It momentarily creates a second self, a projection, an echo. It generates a presence. This does not dismiss the profound nature of these experiences. It grounds them. It suggests that the capacity for wonder, for sensing something larger than ourselves, is built into our very neurochemistry. Now think again of those haunted places, those ancient stone circles, those cathedrals built on specific sites, those winding caves. Many of these locations sit directly on top of geological anomalies. They are places where the Earth's own magnetism is unstable, fluctuating, and complex. A person standing in that field, especially at night when other senses are dim, may be experiencing a natural external stimulation of their temporal lobes. They are not imagining it, they are feeling it. They are feeling the Earth's invisible hand gently touching the part of their brain that builds reality. What they call a spirit may simply be the language the brain uses to describe a sensation it cannot otherwise name.
There is a third force, a subtle one. It is not as deep as infrasound, nor as fundamental as magnetism. It is the simple, physical quiver of the world. Micro vibrations. The world is never truly still. Even in the quietest room at the dead of night, there is movement. The distant rumble of a truck passing miles away, the low hum of a refrigerator in another room, the settling of an old house's foundation, water moving through pipes. These are tiny, tactile vibrations. In most cases, we filter them out. They are just noise. But in a haunted setting, the brain is on high alert. It is searching for meaning, and it begins to connect the dots. This is the force that may explain the poltergeist. A cup sitting on a smooth, polished shelf. A tiny, persistent vibration from a building's heating system or from a nearby railway line passes through the shelf. For hours, for days, that tiny vibration nudges the cup, a millimeter at a time, until one night it finally slides and falls. To the person who finds it, it is a mystery, an act of an unseen force. To a physicist, it is simple, cumulative motion. But vibrations do more than just move objects. They often travel with another common culprit of hauntings: airflow. Cold spots are one of an old building's most famous signatures. You walk down a hall, and suddenly the air is icy. You take 2 steps, and it is warm again. We want to believe it is a spirit passing through us. The reality is often convection. In old, drafty houses, air is not uniform. Cold air from a poorly sealed window sinks to the floor. It flows like a river along the hallway. Warm air from a radiator rises. These currents create invisible pockets and streams of air at different temperatures. When you walk through one, you feel a sudden, localized cold spot. Now, let us put the story together. Imagine you are in that old house. It is night. The air is still. The natural infrasound of the wind in the chimney is making you feel uneasy. A presence. The chaotic magnetic field from the iron-rich stone in the foundation is stimulating your temporal lobes. You feel watched. Your peripheral vision, vibrated by that same infrasound, catches a glimpse of a shadow. Suddenly, you walk through a pocket of cold air. A shiver runs down your spine. At that exact moment, a tiny vibration from the building's pipes makes a door in its frame rattle, a knock. Or it makes that cup, which has been sliding for days, finally fall from the shelf. To the person who finds it, it is a mystery, an act of an unseen force. To a physicist, it is simple, cumulative motion. But vibrations do more than just move objects. The brain, already primed for fear, connects every single event. The cold, the shadow, the sound, the moving object. It creates a narrative, a story. A ghost just passed me and threw that cup. It is a perfect illusion, not one single trick, but many layered on top of each other. Each one a natural, explainable phenomenon. But together, they create an experience that feels undeniably, profoundly supernatural. The world is full of mystery, and tonight we have found that so many of these mysteries do not lie in the outside world. They lie within us. They are born in the extraordinary, sensitive, and creative landscape of the human brain. The unseen world is not necessarily a spiritual one, but a physical one that our senses are just not built to interpret directly. We have learned that the feeling of dread, the presence, can be the body's response to a sound it cannot hear. We have learned that the shadows we see
may be an illusion created by our own eyes, vibrating to that same silent sound. We have learned that the feeling of being watched, of a spiritual presence nearby, can be the brain's interpretation of the Earth's own invisible magnetic fields, touching our temporal lobes. And we have learned that the cold spots, the knocks, the moving objects can be the simple, quiet physics of airflow and vibration, which our minds weave into a frightening story. Understanding this does not take the wonder away from life. It does not make the world a colder or a more mechanical place. For me, it does the opposite. It deepens the wonder. It fills me with awe at the incredible complexity of our own perception. The mind is a sensitive instrument. It is a storyteller, constantly building our reality from scraps of light, sound, and feeling. It is trying its best to protect us, to make sense of a universe that is far richer and far more subtle than we can ever consciously know. The next time you feel that chill or sense that presence in an empty room, you do not need to be afraid. You can pause. You can breathe. And you can wonder. You can wonder at the quiet hum of the planet. You can wonder at the Earth's magnetic heart. And you can wonder at the beautiful, mysterious, and brilliant mind that is listening to it all. Let this knowledge bring you peace. Let the unseen world be a reminder of nature's quiet, deep complexity. Let it cradle your dreams. Good night.